Greetings, and welcome to another episode of Her Voice podcast. I am your host, Coach Ivy, your favorite mompreneur, author, master coach, and inspirational speaker. So now at this time, let's turn it over to our phenomenal co-host, starting with Davida.
Hey, Coach, how's everyone tonight? This is Davida Foushee, and like always, I need y'all to stay in prayer with me every day.
Hey, everybody, it's Melonie. Y'all know me. He ain't through me yet.
Hey, it's Lady D.
Hey, now, it's your HR guru, LaTasha.
Hello, and welcome to Her Voice podcast, the show that allows the space for women to gather, converse, and respectfully speak freely. A place where we can have some grown women talk and like-minded women to gain insight and perspective on everyday issues and topics of discussion. I'm your co-host, Crystal, and in this episode, we will discuss Mother May I, where we will take a deeper dive into relationships and your relationship with your mother, to be exact. Let's start by defining mother. Can you help us out with that, Melonie?
You know I got you, Crystal, and it's two different definitions for mother. We got the noun, which is a woman in relation to her children or child, and we got a verb. Bring up a child with care and affection and give birth to. So, I got a question. We got a noun and we got a verb, but I want to know what you guys think. What's your definition of what a mother should be?
You know, Melonie, I really love those definitions. And for me, being a mom it's just like such a big job. I mean, I don't even know that we can even define everything that goes into being a mom. A mom is a caregiver, a nurturer, someone who just puts her all into ensuring the best interest of her child. And it doesn't even have to be a child that she gave birth to. A mom could just be someone who loves on this child. And it may not even be like an infant child, just someone that she loves upon, that she pours into, that she wants to see this child grow and become all that they've been called to be. So being a mom, I think, is one of the closest roles that we can get to being like Christ.
Wow.
That's pretty deep.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Mama D, for that. I want to jump in here, and I want to just say mothers are special. In Proverbs 139:13-16, it tells us that God created us, and he did so in our mother's womb. And he knew we were in our mother's womb. Mm-hmm. And that just makes women, right? He chose women to do that. And mothers, they create life and make sacrifices for their children every day. And I mean, just to make it a little fun, y'all ever heard of, mama's baby, daddy's maybe? So, regardless of how that thing swing, right?
Yeah.
That mother, that is a connection. That is an unconditional and never-ending connection and love when it comes to a mother. And that, to me, along with what Dee said, she's a nurturer. She's everything we always talk about. What Jesus is before we even think about man. Before she takes you to the hospital, she's the doctor, right? She's the doctor in the sick room, right? Because a lot of us don't want to pay that bill.
Come on,
we do whatever we can in your bedroom. Feed you whatever medicine we can before we take you. She's your lawyer. She's your advocate. I know right now, anything go wrong in the schoolhouse with my babies, I'm number one parent.
Absolutely.
In every situation, right? She's your advocate, she's your lawyer, she's your doctor, she's your friend when you need it. It's a mother has so many hats. And it's 24/7, 366 on some years, right? Because we got to leave you. So I'm just saying that mother really, to me, that's what a mother is. A mother is all in all, but she's also a teacher, first and foremost. And in the Bible clearly states that we should train up our children in the way they should go. Yeah. And that's, to me, that's a commandment. We're supposed to teach them in the ways of the Lord, and we're supposed to teach them how to be great citizens and do great things. And that is something that falls on the father too as well. But that mother, it hits different for us. It really does.
Yeah.
One thing I love that Davida just mentioned is about the womb of a mother. And when you think about the womb, it's just a place of safety and protection where she holds that child. And then when you think about a mom, that space it's not physical, right? You hold that child in your womb until you give birth to him. But as a mom, you still hold that safe space with children that may or may not be yours. You may be an aunt, you may be a sister, or just a friend, but you hold that safe space and you have that connection with that child, creating a sort of a womb for that child, a safe space where you can kind of continue to nurture them and grow them up and lead them and instruct them and give them guidance to ensure that they are just becoming everything that God has called them to be in the world.
That's good.
And I guess that's where I come in at, because I'm the only one on here that don't have kids. I'm a everybody auntie type of person. And I think that's where I'm at. Like, I don't have kids, but I'm always vigilant of kids. And I'm always like, don't you do that. I try to nurture, I try to make sure they're okay. I found myself, because you mothers can really tune out your children, but us aunties, we hear everything. And y'all be tuning out. Y'all be like, I'm listening for a certain yell. And I'm like, well, aren't all yells bad? No. They just playing. They all right. They just playing. And here I am, every little noise, I'm like, okay, let me go check on them. Let me make sure they're okay. And I, like Dee said, I think that's that nurturing part of it. Even if you're not a quote unquote, you didn't give birth, because that's one of the definitions to give birth. I feel like can have that motherly instance in you.
Melonie, you bring up a great point. Giving birth, but how many of us can call upon a woman who's very motherly to us or served in a motherly role as we were growing up, even though they didn't give birth to us? I would even go as far to say that there are plenty of women who actually weren't raised and mothered by their birth mother. Let's talk about that. What are your thoughts?
I always say, you don't have to give birth to someone to be their mother. I always get a sense of mother and like mom or mommy. That mommy figure is that one that you are running to. Mommy, 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 help me. Mommy, 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 I need you. A mother that I feel like sometimes that biological component, like they gave birth to you. But your mom, that's that one that you run to when you're hurt. That's that one you run to when you need that hug. And it's nothing like that type of hug. So I don't think you necessarily, because me being somebody that wants to adopt one day, I would hope my nurture would outweigh the fact that I didn't actually give birth to this child.
Wow. Yeah. What a desire. Yeah.
Yeah. And what I will say, Melonie, I'm right there with you. Because sometimes we have women that have children that, I don't know, it's just something about their relationship, I guess maybe they had with their mom. They don't know how to parent. And giving birth and birthing a child and having a child and raising a child, big difference. And everybody's not cut out for that. And I think that it's very important that we learn where we stand, our limits. Even though as a mother, we want to be a nurturer, a provider, we want to be all these things, but we have to know our limits, because ultimately, whatever we put into and pour into our children, that's the type of adult that they tend to become.
Wow.
That's turn around and pour into the universe. And whatever the dynamic of our type of relationship is, then that child, or that as they become an adult, those are the issues that they're going to have to deal with and face every day. That's the type of person that they're probably going to be. Now, there are some instances where people may not be how they grew up. They may not have appreciated that. and that could change, but most people are a reflection of how they were raised.
I like that. I think LaTasha's ready to go, and Davita. But real quickly, I really want to acknowledge how you mentioned how it impacts us as adults. And so in a minute, I want to talk about too how we show up in relationships as a result of how we were mothered. But go ahead, LaTasha, and I think again Davita has something as well. So let's put a pin in that.
I wanted to piggyback off of what Melonie was saying about being, the everybody auntie. I'm a mom of 2, but the way I parent my kids was due to my upbringing. I grew up in the house with my mom, and both of my grandmothers raised me as well. But for me, when I had my son, it was more of wanting to just be different in general. And so that's what grew me up. And I looked at my child and was like, I don't want to be a child with a child. Who's going to be a parent? So I chose me. And so I think it's all about the decision when it comes. Some people don't have the natural nurturer in them. But for me, it was in me. Like, I've always been the one to have everyone's kids at my house. And as Melonie said, I look at other moms and I'm like, how do you not see your kid hungry? Or how do you not see your kid do this? Or how do you not see your kid do that? And so then that, like you said, Melonie, that motherly instinct automatically kicks in, and you just go into mother mode without even knowing that you're mothering this person's child, without someone asking you. So I think, again, it's just all about, just making that ultimate decision of just doing what you want to see as a mother yourself.
That's heavy, because you said that you didn't want to be the type of parent or raise your children the way that you were raised. So, and that's what I'm saying, sometimes as a parent, we just have to learn our limits. Certain things we can do, certain things we can't do. I know that I can nurture my child, but I also know that I give her love, and sometimes she's not receptive to the way I'm giving. And that's when I have to look to her second and third mom. And I always, D is Kenyatta's second mom. So sometimes when I can't reach her, that's what I do. I have to learn when to reach out. I have to reach out to my village, those other women who may not have children, that can reach my child because I can't reach them on that level. So, it's you as a mother, you have to balance the things that you do and what you're willing to put into your child, and know when to call for help.
Right. I was going to say know when to wave the white flag, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, ladies.
Ivy, I wanted to go into more of that impact that you were about to discuss, but I wanted to just talk about it. So I came up in a sometimes single mama home, right? So my dad figured out when he wanted to be a dad when it was comfortable. Wow. So when most of the time it was just me, my mom, and my twin brothers, and so I had to, grow up faster than some young ladies that I know. And like by the time I was, I'm pretty tall. So by the time I was able to reach the stove, I was learning how to cook. I was learning how to do things to help my mom in the household, with my brothers. And her working as much as she did, it was never a girly kind of feel in the household, right? So there was never a I can't remember a lot of times where me and my mom got our nails done. Or that feminine soft side that you see a lot of girls to grow up with. I was cooking, I was cleaning, I was feeding my brothers, and she was working two, sometimes 3 jobs to just make sure that we, ends met. Mm-hmm. And it developed a independence. It did develop an independence in me because I could not depend on making sure that I had all of my, I became a teenager, I had all my feminine products and stuff. Like I had all my, things I needed and made sure I needed. I had to make sure I needed them. When I got a car and when I was able to drive, I went to the store and got it. I was 15, 16. I was working at McDonald's. I had my own money. I went to the store and made sure things were bought, I could balance the checkbook at 16. Can't say that for a lot of my students now. But I could do all of that stuff when I was young. Yeah. And I developed those skills young because I had to. Yes. And so growing up, I still remember some days I would be girly, right? I would be in middle school, high school, and sometimes I would just want my mom to just, coddle me, right? Because it didn't have and I would go, try to cuddle up under her on the couch or something, and she'd be like, "Girl, get off me, I'm tired."
Mine too.
And but at that moment, it was like I needed my mom, and I was young and I didn't understand. And now it's, growing up, I see, and because she worked so much, I never saw her hang out with the girls or, have girl nights and, say, "Hey, me and so going to the mall. You want to come with us?" So as growing up, I'm like, I don't have a lot of girlfriends either. I don't have a lot of people that I just call and be like, "Hey, y'all want to have brunch?" Those cute things. And, so that impacted me. I'm not the girl now I'm a friend. I'm a loyal friend now. I help you out any way I can, but please don't pick me up and say, expect me to be that one that calls and says, "Girl, let me tell you, or let me talk to you about this and that." I deal with my problems internally a lot because I had to growing up, and I didn't have that model on how you should lean on your friends and how you should how friends actually help you through situations, and having that tribe, having that that circle around you, whether it's spiritually or whether it's just financially. I need some financial friends. Whether those types of people in your life that can help you grow and help you move. I dealt with a lot of stuff independently, but I know it, and that's how it impacted me growing up. And even in relationships, I give off that masculine.
Yes.
Give off that alpha. Yeah. I'm very direct at times. I have softened a little. Because I have a husband that dominates me, that masculine energy, and he's definitely put me in my feminine. So it's like, but growing up, I'm saying that's how it impacted me. It definitely made the Davita that a lot of people know, the business minded, quick to the point type thing, and trying to big picture type person, and not so detailed all the time, but definitely have that like I said, that masculine alpha energy. And I think I truly believe that was because of how I was reared in my home.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing.
I kind of grew up the same way, like where my dad stepped in when he felt like stepping in, and when he felt like stepping out, he stepped out. And so I feel you when you say you never got those lessons or were taught certain things, because that was me. Like, which is crazy, because I'm gonna tell y'all now, my mama like to shop, go get nails done, go get her hair done. Let's just keep that in mind. She like do all that now. But when I was growing up, we didn't go get our feet done. We didn't go shopping. So now, as an adult, I'm not a shopper. I'll go online and buy stuff, and if it don't fit, I return it to the store. I may go into a store and go shopping, but I'm not gonna be that one. Don't call me on Saturday talking about, "Girl, let's go to the outlets." And do what? You got something you want to go get? Or you just want to walk around and do what? Walk around. We not gonna buy nothing? That's me. I'm the person that be like, "What we buying? Why we going?" Because I was not taught that growing up, that you go with your girlfriends, go shopping so y'all can be out and be out. I'm learning. I'm a little nicer now when people ask me to go, but I was that person. If you ain't got no reason why we going, I ain't going. Mm-hmm. So I feel you on that. That's growing up. That's kind of was something that was real impactful for me. Like I said, now she loves to do all that stuff, but growing up, that wasn't something we did. And I know that stems from, as a mother, as somebody that's head of a household, you got to do what you got to do. And you tired. You might not want to go shopping. You might not, or you don't have the money to do it.
That part.
As a mother, you have all these people depending on you. All these little munchkins, as I like to call them, They all want their little piece of pie, and you're gonna have to go out there and get it. So I guess growing up too, that wasn't an option for her. Now,
right,
I don't have to worry about feeding this much because she can feed herself. So I guess that's something too I have to think and remember when I think about growing up with a single mother, and now as an adult, how our relationship is changing and morphing to something different than what it was when we were
Yeah.
Right. And to Melonie, to that point, I have to do the same thing because my mom was the same way. We planning to try to go somewhere for my birthday in June together and have our first mother-daughter trip. Aww. And I have to remember she was in survival mode.
Yeah.
When I was a kid. That's what she was in. So I love her. I forgive her for what, whatever she believes she didn't give me, but she gave me so much. Because I see the kids today, because, y'all know I was a teacher. I see the kids today and how dependent they are upon their parents. At 17, at 18 years old, they still, I'm like, y'all know I was filling out my own college applications and at my own orientation and everything when I was 17.
Yeah.
So but that's what I have to remember. Now she's not. She's, all the kids out the house. She's like, oh, I got free time. Do what I want to do. So, Davita, you want to go somewhere? And so, now I have to, Melanie, I see the same thing. She wants to go do those things with me now because, she's not in that survival mode anymore.
Absolutely. That's good. That's good. I want to speak to the alpha female and, just to those who, my mom was truly a single parent in the sense of my father wasn't in the picture. And I just like how I'm able to still relate to y'all. Thank y'all for sharing where your father was there, but wasn't present or wasn't always present. And we have to keep that in mind, that that's still an experience, right? And so I just say for me, I just want to touch and agree and say, Davita, same thing. I know I show up in relationships very alpha, very dominant, sometimes even rough and tough. I was a tomboy growing up as well. Really just didn't see my mom being feminine. My mom planted a lot of seeds in me in terms of be independent. Don't depend on a man. Make sure you always have your own. Always have a nest egg. So I was taught everything but to be a lady. I was taught everything but to be dependent. Submissive? What? That is far from anything that I was able to actually see in my home. I missed a lot of affection. I want to bring in that piece because going back to Davita, my mom would either say she was too tired for that or it was too hot. Get up off of me. Right. And so that shows up. And I think I shared this with y'all in terms of when we talk about love language, how that even shows up in my relationship with my child, just not really experiencing that. And so now it feels weird. And y'all were saying how y'all mom now wants to spend time and stuff. Now my mama want a hug. That's weird, lady. Like that don't even feel right. We don't do that, right? And so
I'll be like, who's this woman?
Yeah, who this? Who? Right. Exactly, Davita, who this woman is gonna be hugging me? And so, and I even had to say to her, because she wants to hug all of us. And because the boys, I have two brothers. The boys don't hug me back at all. Ma, you didn't hug us growing up. You make us feel weird. Hug your grandkids. You know what I'm saying? Weird. That's not. So, you have to really, going back to Crystal, you do have to be conscientious of those things, where you struggle, work on them. And again, wave those white flags when you need help in that area. So I allow other people to love upon my son because I know I'm not the best at it, but I know he needs it. So when we were around LaTasha, when we were around, any of my other friends, Crystal, y'all hug them, love them, because I might be all he get for the rest of the week. But again, knowing that's how I show up in relationships, even my intimate relationships, I struggle in that area. So again, just talking about the impacts of how you were mothered, but we also have a flip side to that in terms of how we do things differently too. So we're talking about some of the things that we do that are very similar and how they show up. But then there's also those pieces that we made note of and we're like, I'm not going to do that. Right. Or I'm going to change that. I'm going to be different in this way. So there's some takeaways that we pull from our experiences, but then there's some things that we take and we change. And Crystal used a good word when she said we make those adjustments.
But Coach, I want to say what freed me the most about my upbringing and to truly get to the forgiveness of, the relationship with my mom, because I was angry for a long time, is when I learned that she didn't have the tools, resources, or the capacity to give me what she didn't get. So once I came to terms with she didn't have that, that's when I decided to change my mindset and said, okay, well, I'm going to learn what are those tools, what are those resources, and Lord, give me the emotional capacity to give that to my own children. And so now there's not a night that goes by where my son and my daughter come in my room and hug me. Mom, I love you. We don't go a night without saying I love you. They get out my car every morning for school. Have a good day, Mom. I love you. Have a good day. Love you too. They come in the house, tell me about their day. I don't remember those with my mom, but now I'm starting that trend with them today. And so that's how we adjust. That's how we make that change.
That's good. That's good. And being able to truly see our mothers as women first. They were women first. They're somebody's daughter first. They were mothered or not mothered before we ever came into existence. And they can't give you anything they don't have. They can't demonstrate something that was never demonstrated to them. And so that's where that grace and mercy comes into play. When we feel like we've been lacked or we feel like we've been slighted by our mothers, we have to give them that grace and mercy. It's important to get their history, have conversations with them, ask them questions. Sometimes they'll clam up. Eventually they'll warm up and start sharing more and more. I know mine did. And for some of you, they may never share. And that in itself will tell you a lot. Because if they never want to share, if it makes them uncomfortable, then there may be a lot of trauma in their past and in their childhood. So be mindful. But I think it's important to see your mother as a woman first and know that she has her own experiences and her own story.
Right. Thank you so much for that. That's a good way to put it. And that's a good way to look at my mom. And I truly thank her for that now, because my mom, she was tough for me, but she made me very independent. And I think overall goal for me to be able to be independent and stand on my own and be able to be a parent or, all these things that I am today. And the only thing I will say I see a change in is once you start having children, once they see them kids, then it's a different them that come out. A whole parent 3.0, not no 2.0, it'd be 3.0, because everything like those kids do, they get by with that we could not get by with. So, but I'm thankful for everything that she did, because like I said, it made me who I am. It made me a strong person. And that is definitely something I want to pass on to my child.
Good. That's good, Crystal.
I'm with you on that, because my mama never cuddle. With my nephew, my great nephew at that, she is cuddle buddy. I mean, they be cuddling up everywhere. You be like, where's your grandma? Grandma said I can lay here. Let me go over there. Go sit over there somewhere. It's hot. I feel you on that. I say, like, for me, LaTasha, what you just said earlier kind of just freed me a little bit.
Come on.
I knew my mama didn't have the capacity for some things, partly because my mama does suffer from mental illness. I never thought about the way what was given to her, how she taught mother, she was a change baby. So my grandma was done having babies at that point. So to be honest, she didn't really raise, like no shade to my grandma, but she didn't really nurture or raise my mom. It was more like my mom was passed around to all her siblings, because all her siblings were adults, like full-fledged adults having children. My mother has a niece and a nephew that's older, well, two nieces and one nephew that's older than her, because at that point, her siblings were having kids. So I always used to be, when I was growing up, I used to be mad, because I was like, why do I have this mama? Why my cousins have the good mama? I feel like I had a bad mama. And then as I got older and I realized how independent I am, how self-sufficient I am compared to some of my family members, how I'm the person that some people lean on.
Okay.
Needing to be somebody to hold them up. It's because of my mother. Not in despite of her, it was because of her. So I always thank her for that. Now, granted, me and her butt heads, but I thank her for instilling in me that I can be greater. That's one thing she always wanted for all both her kids. I want y'all to be greater than me. I want y'all to do more than I did. I want y'all to surpass me. That's something she always say to us. I want you to have more than I had. I want you to be better than me. And it's like, you know, you were a single mother. You bought a house on your own. You did this on your own. You did that on your own. And she's like, but I want you to do more. So she's always instilled in. And I love that about my mom. That she pushes us to be better and greater.
That's good. That's good.
Awesome. Oh, well, I just wanted to say I truly love the fact that my mom did everything in her power to make sure that we were okay and that we were good and that she raised us properly. But I know as a complete opposite turnaround, like I was talking about, I'm a hugger now. Like my love language is physical touch, and it's ingrained in my children. They're huggers too. They just like LaTasha said, in order to I saw what happened with me, and I know what I wanted to happen with my children. I wanted to make sure my children knew they could always come to me, knew they could hug me, knew they could, you know, if they had a question, ask me, please ask me.
Yes.
Because if you don't ask me, I know you're gonna ask somebody in the street, and I'm like, I need you to come here first. So I, you know, I made those changes, and I did my own research because we grew up with the internet, so we don't have an excuse, right? And did all the things that I wanted when I was a child, and you know, making sure my children stay children as long as possible, and they don't have to grow up extremely fast,
right?
You know, and just doing all the things like LaTasha said earlier to make sure that, you know, that cycle doesn't continue with me, and it's complete. I have, you know, that nurturing and loving home that, you know, I wanted to see when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And but like I said, also growing up and that rearing that my mom did, she definitely made sure me and my brothers knew how to take care of ourselves. We're not out here going crazy. We ain't, you know, never been all the way locked up, you know. So and Melonie, we're gonna have to talk. I'm gonna have to find out what change baby is. Like, that was a new vocabulary word for me. So but on to you, Dick.
Oh, ladies, I so love this conversation. Man, you know, one of the key takeaways I think I took from this is when Coach said that we have to get to know them as women and not just as moms. I think a lot of times when we become parents or when we operate as moms, like that kind of becomes our identity. And it's easy for that to just like be all consuming for our lives. But if we just get to know each other as women and have an understanding of the journey and the experiences and the things that we've gone through, we can probably be a little bit more compassionate about the things that they didn't get right when they were raising us, and then allow them to maybe get them right with the grandkids and not have any animosity whenever we see that, because we're still holding on to something that, you know, happened whenever we were younger. So I think, you know, just allowing us to be able to just like see each other, just know that I'm a woman first. I'm going to make mistakes, and also understanding that now that we're moms, we're going to make mistakes as well. And we're going to want our children to show compassion and be graceful and be loving to us whenever we make those mistakes. So I think, you know, just being able to just see each other and extend that grace and just love on one another, help each other when we can. It's all teamwork. We're a community. So as long as we keep leaning on each other, we'll be fine.
That was good, Dee. That was really good. We have to give them grace, right? And understand that they're a woman. You're right. It is so easy to become consumed with the parent role. So now that you said that, I'm going to give that some more thought. And, you know, just try to be better and also not let it consume me, most importantly.
That is awesome. Look at you, Crystal, already paving the way for us all to do some work. Go inward and really challenge our relationship, not only as a daughter, but also as a mother or the best auntie on this side. No. Okay. All right. I love it. I love it. Thank you all. That was a very, very healthy conversation. I think we just peeled across the surface of this dialogue. There's so much to unpack when it comes to this conversation. And so I hope that you, as our listeners, have definitely been able to glean from our conversation and our stories, as we all have one to share. And so again, we are her voice as we are learning to develop our voice in his kingdom. We thank you for being here. We thank you for continuing to follow our station. If you haven't done so already, please follow or subscribe so that you won't miss an episode. If you're interested in learning more about the Her community, please visit www.inspireHerNetwork.org. The website will also be in the description right below this episode. Thank you so much for following us and being with us as we continue to explore our realities, our experiences, everyday life. We thank you all for being with us. Go forward, be bold, be courageous, and as always, be inspired.